What if Trump sat on the Iron Throne? Picture dragons wearing Make Westeros Great Again hats, a wall so huge it blocks out the sun, and beware because sanctions are coming. Number 1. Build the southern wall to shield from Dorne interference. First things first, Trump is all about walls, and Westeros is no different. Trump would spearhead the construction of a southern wall stretching through the Dornish marches. This southern wall would be marketed as a protective measure to safeguard the great Westeros values. Border security from his Dornish interference, where he described as a land of treachery, smuggling, and cultural menace. Dorne's progressive views on women's rights, where ladies hold titles, wield power, would clash with Trump's traditionalist, patriarchal mindset. As for funding, Trump would recycle his favorite strategy: make Dorne pay for it. He'd push through punitive tariffs on Dornish goods and merchants daring to cross the border, framing it as security fees to fund the wall. The wall would cover from Night Song in the Stormlands to the Red Mountain in Dornish marches, blocking the entry of the Prince's Pass, making it nearly impossible to traverse the border without being spotted. Trump would bring in the finest builders from across Westeros to design a wall fortified with the strongest stone and steel, with even dragonglass reinforced sections, borrowing from the magical knowledge of Dragonstone, just in case Dorne employed any sorcery. Number 2. Guarantee the rights of the ruling class. Next up, Trump would introduce the Noble Rights Act to lock in the elite's power. This act would be the ultimate power play. Keep the rich happy, keep the poor in their place, and keep the king sitting pretty on his golden iron throne. The Noble Rights Act would protect the ancient privileges of highborn families, making it nearly impossible for commoners to rise in rank or status. Imagine tax exemptions for the richest houses, the right to seize lands from commoners at will, and immunity from most criminal charges. A get-out-of-jail-free card for the upper echelons. Number 3. Establish federal law. No more autonomy for each house. Just as Trump's 2025 agenda to centralize power in Westeros, Trump would establish a strict federal system, stripping the great houses of their autonomy. Trump would publicly frame this as a move for unity and national strength, but in practice, it would tighten his grip on the realm. Taxes, trade, and military resources would be dictated by Trump, transforming the Nobel houses into mere regional administrators. At the core of this plan would be a council of heirs, where the eldest children of each noble family are summoned to King's Landing under the guise of learning governance. In reality, these heirs would act as political hostages, ensuring their family's obedience. Any resistance would be met with threats to their safety, keeping the houses in line. Number 4. Trade war with Essos. Adopting a Westeros-first strategy, Trump would lay hefty tariffs on trade with Essos, Braavos, and Dorne, redirecting wealth back to King's Landing. This policy would see the Crown taking a larger cut from all merchants, with a particular focus on breaking free from the Iron Bank's financial grip. He'd aim to create a new state-run bank, the Fire Bank, promising to make Westeros self-sufficient and no longer reliant on foreign loans. Number 5. Stop solo funding for the wall in the north. Under Trump's reign, the wall would no longer be just the Westeros' problem. In a move inspired by his real-life approach to NATO, Trump would demand that the financial burden of maintaining the wall and protecting Westeros from the White Walkers be shared not just among the Seven Kingdoms, but also with foreign powers in Essos like Braavos, Pentos, and other free cities. Trump's pitch would be simple. If Westeros falls, the dead won't stop at the Narrow Sea. They'll come for Essos, Braavos, Volantis, and beyond. Much like his pressure tactics on NATO, Trump would use financial leverage and tough talk to secure contributions, threatening trade embargoes, sanctions, or even withholding access to lucrative Westerosi markets for those who refuse to pay up. This strategy would be twofold. Not only would it ease the financial burden on the crown, but it would also strengthen his image as a leader capable of rallying the world against a common enemy. Number 6. Strict immigration rules to King's Landing. Next, it's Trump's famous immigration policy, controlling who enters the capital. Only those with direct ties to nobility, proven loyalty, or valuable skills would be granted access to King's Landing. Flea Bottom, the city's slum, would be targeted with aggressive policing and deportations of undesirables back to their home regions. Trump's City Watch would act like his personal ICE agents, rounding up those he deems unworthy of residence in the greatest city in the world. Public speeches would demonize outsiders, particularly those from Dorne, Essos, or the Free Cities, echoing his real-world tough stance on immigration. Number 7. Las Kingas Entertainment Hub. Trump would divert Crown funds to build opulent entertainment complexes, including a grand hunting lodge just outside the city, modeled after Robert Baratheon's love for the hunting and battling. In the city itself, there would be lavish arenas, sprawling pleasure gardens, and a colossal stadium for jousts and melee tournaments, all branded with Trump's personal sigil and colors. These projects would mirror his real-life investments in casinos and golf courses, acting as monuments to his ego. Number 8. The Air Force and the Magic Force. Why an Air Force? With constant threats from across the Narrow Sea, Trump would recognize the need for air superiority in Westeros and beyond. With his eye on dragons as the ultimate air power, Trump would launch a dragon breeding program to build a strong fleet of dragons to Westeros. His grand vision would include creating an elite class of dragon riders and a special training academy, similar to the Targaryen tradition, calling it the Trump Dragon Defense Academy. Strategic hubs in cities like King's Landing, Dragonstone, and the Stormlands would house newly built aerial ports. Early warning systems, bolstered by warg scouts, would allow Trump's forces to detect threats well before they reached Westeros, ensuring a quick and lethal response. To keep this vast air fleet operational, Trump would establish sprawling supply chains to maintain fuel, weapons, and provisions, ensuring that his air force remained self-sustaining and ready at a moment's notice. Magical Forces Initiative. Lastly, Trump recognizes that mere physical defenses wouldn't be enough in this magic world. His drive for immortality and absolute power would also push him to exploit the realm of magic to suppress any challenging powers and curb supernatural threats like the White Walkers. Trump would actively seek to wargs, green seers, red priests, and anyone with magical abilities. Wargs would be invaluable to him, serving as spies and battlefield strategists, their ability to control animals and glimpse far-off events giving Trump a crucial advantage over his rivals. He'd establish specialized training camps in the far north, where wargs would be equipped with dragonglass weapons to combat magical beings while tracking the movements of White Walkers. Trump would court the red priests of Halor, believing their powers could counter to the icy threat of the White Walkers. No avenue would be left unexplored. His ambitions would stretch across the sea to Essos, where he would form alliances with warlocks from Karth, whose mastery of illusions and shadowbinders from the city of Ashai, known for their magic of stealing faces and identities, making them the world's most terrifying undercover agents. It's Trump, so don't be surprised if he'd even seek out necromancers capable of manipulating life and death. He'd even begin researching ways to extend his own lifespan through sorcery, to become an immortal ruler of Westeros. If this happened in reality, expect a kingdom where the wall's as big as his ego. The nobles live like royalty on steroids, and King's Landing becomes the most glamorous reality show the Seven Kingdoms has ever seen.